1.1, sets of real numbers and the Cartesian coordinate plane. So we're going to start out with numbers, sets of numbers. So first of all, you've probably learned about numbers. And so let's talk about sets first. So what are sets? A set is a group of objects that is well defined, which means you're either in or you're out. So for any given number, it's either in the set or not in the set. So what are some examples of sets? You can just write down individual elements, and individual elements, you have curly brackets around the edge, and these are the numbers 1 through 4. If you use ... notation, what that would mean is the numbers go on forever. And so you can figure 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc., etc. When the pattern's obvious, we use 3 dots. So other ways to write set notation, and we could use interval notation, which is the one we're going to use in the class, to answer web work and on the midterms. And we'll start with set builder though. Set builder uses these curly brackets. You put usually X or another letter at the front. You put a vertical bar, which means such that, and then you put some property over here. So we could write it like this. It says X such that X is greater than or equal to 0. So what does that mean? It means it can't be 0, but you can be everything greater than 0. So if we're on number line, there's our number line. There's 0. Greater than 0 is to the right. So we want to be to the right of 0. We don't want to include 0. So we'll draw a circle around 0 and then shade in the number line to the right. So this is a number line version right here. Very good for intuition, but we're not going to use it as our final answers. The way we're going to write our final answers is interval notation. And interval notation uses either parentheses or square brackets. In this case, we're going to use parentheses at 0, and there's always going to be parentheses at infinity. So interval notation, we write start at 0, go to infinity, and these are parentheses, which we call open endpoints. So open means you do not include the number at the end. In this case, 0. Now infinity is not a number. Infinity is the thing that's bigger than all the numbers. So on the number line, the numbers get arbitrarily large, and you never actually hit infinity, which is why we put open parentheses around infinity. Now we have open interval. We can also have closed intervals, or partially open, partially closed. So if I wanted to go from 1 to 10, and I want to include both 1 and 10, we could shade in right here both 1 and 10 and everything in between right there. So this is good for intuition. How do we write it in set builder? X such that I'm going to put the small number 1 less than or equal to X less than or equal to 10. So there is set builder notation right there. Now we're not going to use set builder notation in our final answers. Our final answers are going to be interval notation, and we go 1, and this is not a parenthesis, this is a square bracket, 1, comma, 10, close square bracket, and that is including 1, go all the way to 10. Now if I want to go from, just change this a little bit, not all the way to 10, I can write 1, comma, 10, very similar, square bracket on the left, so we're including 1. Now 10, I don't want to include 10, everything up to 10, so this would mean throw out just the number 10. So on number line, we have 1, 10, I just put an empty dot right around 10, fill it in over at 1, and there's our interval notation. So it's very similar, just leave out the endpoint. This is set builder notation. And more importantly, this is interval notation.